1140 is your phone number. 916-339-1140 is your text line. So, we all believe, well, I shouldn't say that. Many of us believe, including Jason and myself, that the Kings team we see now is very likely not going to be the Kings team we see at the end of the season. And I think Scott Perry has done his best to send smoke signals out when he can. We've gotten very good over the years at trying to read the smoke signals from different general managers. He has talked about how he's a little hamstrung with contracts. He has talked about how it's not easy in this world of aprons, and I'm not talking cooking, to make moves. And we all know that this team is a little lopsided right now, even with the addition of Precious Achiuwa, which I'm fine with. We didn't like the Isaac Jones thing necessarily, but I'm fine with them adding some beef in the middle. So then the question is, okay, what kind of move do we want? And what, Jason, what I worry about, and I'm just going to soliloquize here for a second, is that when you're crawling through the desert, man, you can convince yourself that sand is water. And I understand that there are a lot of fans that just want something to believe in, as right. Brett Michaels of Poison said. They want something to excite them. And I also know that there's a lot of fans, especially your older fans, that go, well, the Kings have to take a chance on damaged goods. They have to take a chance on rehabilitating a player. And when a name like Ja Morant comes up, you go, okay, well, the Kings definitely have a need at point guard. We all know that Schroeder and Westbrook are not long-term solutions. And with the trade of De'Aaron Fox and the fact that Monk and Carter and so many others aren't point guards, that would be a point guard for sure. Ja Morant is also an incredibly exciting player. He's capable of being right up there, leading the league in scoring. He can dish the ball, and he is an incredibly fun player to watch. When Ja Morant is on, he is one of the better players in the entire NBA. And I don't know that much of that is up for debate. What bothers me, I'll tell you from a couple of reasons. Number one, even just at 26 years old, Ja Morant over his let's just look at his career starting from his rookie year. He has played 67, 63, 57, and 61 games. Then he played 9 games in 23-24, 50 in 24-25, and he has played 7 so far this season, averaging career low in scoring, near a career low in assists. He's not having a great year. Career low in rebounds. His shooting percentage is at a career low. His 3-pointers are at a career low percentage-wise. He is shooting 95.5 from the free throw line. That was a career high. Yeah. So what I did yesterday is I put up a comparison between Ja Morant and De'Aaron Fox.
Okay.
And they are not the same player, and they have different things going for them, good and bad. But they're very, very similar when it comes to numbers. They're very close in scoring. Ja's a little bit of a better rebounder, and I think a 7-4 to 6-1 is a semi-significant assist difference. De'Aaron beats him, but not greatly, all the way down the list pretty much. Steals, blocks, field goal percentage, three-point percentage, value over replacement player, which is a cumulative one, by the way, and De'Aaron's played about a season and a half more than him, so you have to take that into account. I'll say something similar about Ja Morant that I said about Jimmy Butler. You see Jimmy Butler has gone to Golden State, and I don't know that there's anybody that can say that that was a bad move for Golden State. I think it's been a great move for Golden State. The natural thought would be, well, then why didn't we do that? And my reasoning stays exactly the same. Just as you saw the way Buddy Hield was here and how Jimmy Butler deals with him. This is not the right franchise for Jimmy Butler. This is not a franchise that's in the right position. This is not a franchise that I think would have been able to create a happy situation for Jimmy Butler. I just don't think the foundation is there. Ja Morant's not Jimmy Butler, but Ja Morant does have issues, and he's playing in Memphis, which is a small market. Sacramento isn't Memphis. It's a different city. But you're talking about Ja Morant going to a team that is right around, we're worse than Memphis, but not incredibly worse record-wise. Memphis will be better than we will be this year, but I don't think Memphis is shooting for a title anytime soon. My other issue with Ja Morant is he makes $40 million this year, 42, and then 45. So, Jason, I would just, first off, dead stop. I do not want to give up future draft capital for pretty much anyone not named, Wemby or Giannis or something. Like our future draft capital is the best thing we have. So I'm even going to make it easy for people. What if Memphis came along and said, we'll take Zach LaVine straight up for Ja Morant? There need to be some other things involved, but I think even then you have to question,
right?
What are you bringing into the franchise, and can Ja Morant be the best player on a championship contending team? And I just don't know that he can do that here. I think it would be a rush move. I think it would be incredibly risky, and I don't think it's the type of risky that we want to take, not here. But I understand there's arguments against. I just think this would be a snap move to sell more tickets.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think all of it in a nutshell is, what would the deal be? That's first and foremost. Would a player of Ja Morant's talent intrigue me? Absolutely. But I think there's way more to it, Dave. And I think this team, in the position they are, I couldn't agree with you more that I don't think in the present state of the Sacramento Kings that they're the organization that is best equipped to handle Ja Morant. And could Ja Morant get things a little bit more? I mean, he's been suspended by the league, but also by the team now. So he's got a couple different infractions off court, on court that have happened that would concern me. I would like, on the positive side, I would like the fact that you have a guy like Ja Morant on your team. A lot of nights you're going to play, you have the best player in the game. Not every night, but a lot of nights, Ja Morant's one of the best, if not the best player on the floor. That would be exciting. But I think this team, when they do eventually make some of these trades that we all are anticipating, I think it needs to be there's always risk, but I feel like this one swings a little too far in the risk department for his past, his contract, his this organization being the one that would be in control of him. And then also just the area of need. There would be an upgrade, there's no doubt, but it's just smacking this team of needing improvement defensively and needing more help in the front court. And so I go back and kind of the two last biggest rumors this team has been in. If it's Ja Morant, I don't know how valid the rumor is, but people are, Vegas is saying they're the top odds. Or Kuminga. Kuminga's the kind of risk to me, Dave, that makes more sense, that made more sense, where what would you have to give up? He's younger. You're hoping to get him on the best part of his career. And Ja also, again, it's not the end of his career by any means, but he's such an explosive player. At some point, that kind of deteriorates, and I don't think he still has some really good basketball ahead of him. I shouldn't go that far, but at some point that will deteriorate. It's not there yet, and I don't know when that'll happen, but I just don't think at this time, I don't think it's the right one for the Kings.
I don't either. I don't. And again, I understand why some people are like, hey, Ja Morant. Mm-hmm. But really, you can put Ja Morant up against Zach LaVine, and Ja's going to edge him in a couple of categories. I would say the biggest difference is he damn near doubles him in assists. But when it comes to efficiency, Zach clears him across the board. I'm not here to say Zach LaVine's better than Ja Morant. What I'm saying is, look at this team with Zach LaVine. Grabbing Ja Morant, in my opinion, you're still incredibly directionless. You're not improving on defense. You're not getting bigger down low. You're not, and on top of that, you're dealing with all the problems that have come with Ja Morant in the past. Now, I'm a child of Chris Webber era, and I'm fully there for, hey, it just takes that one move with that one special player that could turn it around in Sacramento. I'm not immune to that. But even if we got Ja Morant without the problems, you still have a lot of the same issues from a team building standpoint you have here right now, but you also have 2 extra years of that salary and then no guarantee he stays after, although that's going to be with pretty much anyone you acquire. And you don't really have any room unless you are able to make further moves to do that. Now, if they traded Levine straight up for Ja Morant, I wouldn't burn the house down. Like I get it, but I think you nailed it. Jonathan Kuminga, at least right now, is not in the stratosphere of Ja Morant when it comes to explosive numbers and crazy good players. But we've seen what Ja Morant can do at his best. I don't think we've seen what Jonathan Kuminga can do at his best. There's equal risks, but you're not getting the behavioral risks with Kuminga. It's a lot cheaper of a risk, and it fills a need that's a bigger need than what Ja Morant would bring to this team, especially defensively.
Yeah, kind of to my and I'm curious what you think about this, Dave. I feel like to my core, like what Monty McNair wanted and what we believe Scott Perry wants is for this team to have a successful long-term run at this, whatever that means. But long-term in the NBA now is 3 to 5 years. So they're not there now, clearly, and they haven't been there. They had that run at it with the Beam team that didn't extend. It just was one shot really at it. So if that's where Scott Perry wants to get them to, there's a foundational player in there somewhere. I honestly don't think that player's on this team right now, as far as the one that's going to be that kind of carrying the heavy lifting, that's the star of the team, that they're building it around. That player may be on another team or might be in college. And so I agree with you what you said earlier. Like, I don't want to see this team have to give up future assets in picks unless they land one of these type of players that's 25 or younger that you're thinking, yeah, that makes sense. You got to swing for this deal. It's probably someone that's in college right now or a year or two away from another draft pick that the Kings could have that is the piece that you go, yep, that's the one they're building on. It's this small forward, this center, this point guard, this 2 guard, whatever. And along with Keegan and Clifford and some of these other pieces, I in my gut, I don't feel like it's that player's on the team right now.
I don't either. And the problem is with the Kings and with rebuilding, you have to have young pieces that are on rookie contracts. Unless they're getting a perennial, no doubt about it, all-star that fits what they need. I see some people on the text line saying, what are you talking about? He's a top 10 or 15 player. Maybe he is. Let's just even say that he is. I'll allow that. Although you could argue,
it's a little past that.
Yeah. Right. But again, he's only 26.
Yeah.
I'm willing to allow for, Ja Morant being a stud again. I don't want to kill the guy here, but again, it's not going to help you lose any more games. So let's say you get Ja Morant as well, and you're paying him $40 million for this team the biggest issue I have here is that I don't want this team doing another 30 to 42 wins, 35 to 42 win season, end of the lottery, out of the lottery type of deal with bloated contracts. No playoff or a play-in loss or a first-round loss, and then rinse and repeat while we watch all these teams above us get the VJ Edgecombs of the world. I'm tired of doing that lap. So you get Ja Morant here. He's certainly not going to contribute to this Kings team losing anymore. He's going to add more money. He's going to make it more difficult to make those other moves. And I completely agree with you, Jason. When you look at the timeline as well, we've talked about this, whether it's the Thunder, obviously, who are undefeated, whether it's the Spurs, whether there's a number of other teams that are just further along. The Kings have absolutely the sooner that we as a fan base come to the conclusion that the Kings have 0% chance of contending for a title in the next 3 years. Like it's not possible. It is literally not freaking possible for this team to contend in the next 3 years unless Zach LaVine and every other player on this team has a career year and all of a sudden rededicate themselves to defense and Doug Christie's a second coming of Greg Popovich and every other team gets hurt. Like that's the possibility. So if you're not going to contend and the goal is to contend, then this is where you rid yourself of the bloat, both salary and otherwise. Jason, as you said, you're grabbing these players out of college on rookie contracts. You're adding young rotational pieces. You're using these players like we should have used Fox last year to add draft capital, to add youth. And that's how you get out of this. Not the short way, not the shortcut, not that this is going to sell more tickets way. You add by subtraction, and this would not be it.
Yeah, and I think, again, when the texter, again, this is all opinion. I'm looking at preseason CBS Sports. They had Ja Morant 32nd, and you go, oh, that's maybe too low. Well, I'll just read a few players around him. 35, Amen Thompson. 34, Derek White. 33, Franz Wagner. Fox at 31, so those two are comps. Bam 30, Şengün 29. I mean, it's hard, a center versus a point guard. Ja's really good, but kind of back to the overall point. Like, okay, you attach Ja to, who was it, Zach LaVine. That's why my first point was, I think it always depends on what the potential deal is. Would there be more intrigue if Memphis is like, no, we don't want one contract. We want two more movable ones. What if it was Schroeder and DeRozan, or DeRozan and Monk? Any more intrigue there? I'm still hesitant. I'm just trying to point another option out there.
I would say that, look, in this dream scenario you're creating, and you admit it is, that you could get Ja Morant for way under market value, and you wouldn't have to give up a young piece, and you wouldn't have to give up draft capital, and you just merely be taking on salary. Here's why I would be intrigued. I'd be intrigued because, okay, we're screwed this year and next year. There's another element to this, which is, let me go back here. I thought I had it to contract. He's this year, next year, and the year after. Okay. Well, what does fit the timeline, Jason, is Ja Morant would be an expiring contract in 27, 28, or he's got 1 year left in 26, 27. I don't think at that price you buy him, you're worried about him being a depreciating asset because he is 26 years old. So do you bring him in order to flip him down the road? Yeah, okay. I could understand that. But then I go back to Ja Morant does not line up with what this team should be doing. Ja Morant, and this is the castor oil spoonful so many of us fans don't want to take. Ja Morant is not going to help this team get better picks. Ja Morant is not going to help this team acquire more youth. Ja Morant is not going to help this team clear salary. On the contrary, he's going to add salary for a longer period of time. And I think if I'm Scott Perry, he has his his 5 or 6 tenets that he goes by, and I'm not making fun of those. I'm just saying I wish his tenets were written on his wall. Do not add salary. Always get younger. Do everything you can to achieve better draft picks and more draft picks. Those should be the 4 tenets that he looks at, in my opinion, on his wall every day. And that is to borrow from Rotary Club, that is the 4-way test that should be asked before every transaction this team makes for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I was thinking about, what was the one we were talking about the other day, or yesterday, I think. And I was now just trying to pair this all together and just see what this team would look like. It's probably not the answer, but remember yesterday we had discussed, was there any possible way, Zach LaVine for Markkanen, just because of Utah's rationale could be, hey, we get out of a contract sooner. We're not quite ready to be there yet, but we'll get another, so on and so forth. But if you somehow did a Markkanen that cost you LaVine, and I don't know, Ja Morant that was DeRozan and something else, Schroeder, are you,
okay,
now if you're wheeling out, what would that be? Ja, Ellis, Keegan, Markkanen, Sabonis. You kind of did a quick retool, but with Russ and Monk coming off the bench and Achua, I don't know.
Okay, so you know what? Here's some things I can say. That's a fun team.
Yeah.
That's a better team.
It's a better team, but is it anywhere financially? Is it better? If you hadn't lost any picks, it's a far more competitive and roster balance team.
Yes.
It's not title team, but I don't expect them to do that today.
No, but that is, see, you know what I said? I said 4 tenets. It really should be 5 overall. It should be do not add salary, get younger, increase chances at higher draft pick,
Okay.
build draft capital, and then on top of that, will this move contribute to this team winning a championship? So I will simply say it like this. You lined it up. What'd you say? Ja Morant, Lauri Markkanen, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis. Who's the player I'm missing?
Probably Keon would start it too.
Okay.
If that was your, I mean, I don't know who these trades would be.
Okay.
But.
Ja, Keon, Keegan, Markkanen, Sabonis. That is an above 500 team, in my opinion. That is a playoff. I don't even think a play-in team. I think that is an actually pretty decently well-balanced team, but this is the 4D chess we're talking about. I don't believe that team has a snowball's chance at hell at winning a title. So what happens? You grab this team, you're paying a butt ton of money for it, you're winning 50 games a year, you're maybe making the second round, maybe the conference semis, but that is your ceiling. That is it. And then these players are depreciating. You're going to have heavy contracts. You're going to be buying high. It's like buying a new versus a used car. You're going to have to buy high and sell lower. And we're sitting here, let's say 7 years from now. And this is just where my head's at.
Mm-hmm.
7 years from now, and we have had 6 years, of which 5 we made the playoffs. We made the conference semis 1 year. We're a fun team. We're averaging 50 wins a year. That is a dream scenario for a lot of fans, and I don't blame them one bit. But I'm tired of not winning championships, or at least not being that team that contends for a championship. And we talked about this last week, Jason, when we were talking about VJ Edgecombe and the Philadelphia 76ers. I want that feeling again that we had in 2000. I want that feeling in 99 when we got Jason Williams. I want that Beam team feeling the very first year where, holy crap, these guys are on to something. They're really on to something. And this, I want to be the darlings again. And I don't think that team can be the darling. I don't think that team can compete for a title. Therefore, if I'm Scott Perry, I don't do the move because that's what I'm governed by.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm anxious to, the next time we have him on, and I know he can't necessarily talk about players per se, but just even, I know he's got his philosophy and he's not going to give us all the intel, but I just want to see that first trade that happens, just kind of what we can read into it of what, the thought process was behind it.
Nope, I 100% agree with you. We'll take a break. When we come back, what the heck are we doing here? Oh, yeah, when we come back, 4-down territory, top 5, bottom 5, all kinds of NFL questions. We'll come off the NBA real quick. We'll knock out 4-down territory, and then right back to the Kings. We'll recap 3 in the key, and we'll give you our 2-week analysis on Sacramento so far. Quick break. We're right back after this.
Sports 1140 newsletter.